I, on Sunday, knit this much in one day. That's so much knitting. That is wild. That is unhealthy. That is not okay. Hello, welcome and welcome back. I'm Natalee, and this is my channel Knitalee, where I talk about all of my creative endeavors. I'm currently hyperfixated on knitting, but I also do pottery and some other crafts here and there. And today is episode 3 of my podcast. I can't believe we're on the third one. That means that it's been like 3 months of posting content, and I've been having a lot of fun. So, I decided to do a little upgrade and got a microphone, so hopefully my audio quality is a little bit better. And I got this fun yellow color, which I'm obsessed with. It also matches my new knitting notebook that I got. This is a Luke term. I believe that's how you pronounce it. And yeah, so we're all color-coded here on what is knitting related. I also hooked it to my little miniature cow. This is a cow that I've named Jupiter. My mom made me a birthday cake a couple years ago and put a bunch of farm animals on it, so this was one of them. And yeah, it's named Jupiter. So I love naming things. And yeah, when I'm out in public, I love playing a game of guessing what people's dogs' names are. And I feel like I'm probably pretty accurate, like maybe 75% accurate. Have I validated that? No, but DM me pictures of your animals and let me guess their names because I love that. Okay, anyway, enough rambling. Let's start this podcast. So I have a few finished objects, a few whips, and a bunch of acquisitions as well. And yeah, let's start with what I'm wearing. So I am wearing the Sunny Tee by Lisa knits on Instagram. It was a pattern that I was following through the whole testing process, and it just seemed like the perfect little baby tee. And I bought the pattern immediately when it was released, and I was really excited to knit it up. So I knit this in the Kelbourne Woolens Mojave in the color Cactus Green, and I picked out this color because I don't know if you can see in frame, but I'll do a little cutaway. I have these tealish green sweat shorts that I thrifted a while back, and I thought it would be really cute to knit a top that matches them. So it turned out perfectly. They're a really, really good match. I think the shorts are a slightly more blue toned and the top is a little bit more green toned, but I don't think it matters. I think that they look like they were meant to be together. And actually, when I was buying the yarn from whatchamacallit, I always forget the name of the yarn stores in Seattle for some reason, but it's the yarn store in like Ballard area. And I wore my teal shorts to get yarn that day, and the shop owner commented about how the yarn that I was getting matched my shorts perfectly, and I was like, yeah, that's kind of like the point. So anyway, I loved this yarn. I felt like it was so satisfying to work with. It's a linen and cotton blend, I believe. I don't have the exact ratio written down. Hold on, let me flip to the page. And it's a sport weight yarn, so this pattern is knit up in sport weight. And the gauge for the pattern is 24 stitches by 34 rows on a US 4 needle. And I knit, let me see if I can grab it. So this was my first attempt. So actually I surprisingly hit gauge with the correct needle size, or at least I thought I did, which is rare for me. I feel like I usually have to size down a needle, and I've just gotten to the point where I always will have a smaller needle on my purling side, no matter what. I kind of just keep it that way throughout the whole project, which I probably should replace it once I'm just knitting the round, but I'm a little bit lazy. So anyway, for some reason my gauge ended up being really off, so I tried it on once I was like a decent point through the body and it just was way too big, I did a poll on Instagram and I was just kind of like, should I frog it and start it over? Should I just like make it a boxy crop top? And I ultimately was like, I'm just gonna frog it and start over. It really didn't take me that long to knit this portion. Let's see, actually, because I wrote that down. Yeah, so I did some gauge swatching on June 28th, and I finished my third skein on July 1st. So that was only a few days, really, of knitting. And I checked my gauge again and it was right, but I decided to check my gauge in multiple places and I was a little bit inconsistent. So I was a little bit off gauge. I just like kept calculating. I have a whole bunch of math in here of just like different calculations of why it was too big because I just kept writing like my gauge must be off because there's no way like the measurements should be right and the math in the pattern is definitely right because I double checked that. And I was talking to Lisa because I was struggling with that a little bit, but nothing about the pattern was wrong. It was my consistency. So then I just decided, okay, maybe my gauge was probably more along the lines of 22 to 24 stitches per 10 centimeters, which means that I need to size down a couple of sizes. So I then like did a little conversion chart of like how to size down. I love math and problem solving and things like this. I love a little cross multiply problem, a simple math problem. But anyway, I then did a little bit of a like, I think I want to do the fourth size, which is like the second parentheses. And then from that, looked at the pattern and looked at how many stitches I would need for each different section of it. So like how many stitches would I be casting on, how many would be around the body, etc. And then with my first version, I kind of folded it in a way that matched that new stitch count, and it ended up being it looked like a way better size. So I then cast that on. Yeah, I knit it for a few days and then I kind of struggled with finishing it. I got to a point where I needed to try it on again, and there's something about putting stitches on a like a and barber cord or scrap yarn, or even just like adding a new connector cord to my Chiagu needles, that is such a blocker for me mentally. So I stopped for like a week. And this week I decided that I was going to vlog finishing my whips. So that's what I've been doing. I'm not sure what video I'm going to post first. Probably this one because I want to get this out there since it's been a while. So keep an eye out for a finishing whip vlog if you like that kind of thing. But I mostly was doing that so that I could tackle the whips that I have and get them off my needles so that I could figure out what I want to do next. Because I don't have like a long queue, it's just more of like I have a bunch of whips that need to get wrapped up. So yeah, and then so I finished the body the other day the other day and knit the sleeves yesterday and blocked it yesterday, and now it's dry and it fits so perfectly and I'm obsessed with it and I need it in every single color possible. And there's a lot of colors out there that I like. So, yeah, I don't know if I will actually knit another one this summer. I kind of want to see how much I wear it like a knit top, but I just put it on for this video and I really like it. It's really comfy. The fit is perfect. The yarn, I think it'll soften a little bit as I wear it and as I wear it like multiple times, but it did harden up a little bit. I think it probably the linen in it. Oh, the other thing that I wanted to say, I really enjoyed knitting with this yarn. I think something about the linen, there was like these little bits. Excuse me, I have to burp. It tasted like honeydew boba. The little bits of the yarn like slipping through my pinky while I was tensioning it just felt so satisfying. Like that feeling of like progress being made in a tactile way, I really enjoyed. And I haven't really experienced that, so I don't know if that's for everybody. I feel like my taste in fiber seems different from what everybody else on the internet's taste in fiber is. So I don't know. So I have this much left, so I'm not entirely sure if I should keep this and have like a boxy version that's like a color block. I might try it on and see how it feels. I do have some yarns maybe that could work as a color block option, so we'll see. But not sure yet, but it'll get to some use at some point. So that's my first finished object. My next finished object is my little self-drafted frog baby tee. I did a little project vlog on this, so if you want to see more details on the exact calculations for how I figured this out, the construction, like that whole process, go check those videos out. I really enjoyed filming them. So, but yeah, I had the idea of knitting a little frog baby tee. I wanted to wear something. I wanted to knit something to wear to Flock Fiber Festival in August since I'm going and I'm really excited. And so this is what I'll be wearing there. I picked a frog because of the frogging concept in knitting. I think it's just really playful and silly, and I don't know if it gets as much acknowledgement as it should. So I took you on the process of like designing the frog itself too. I sketched it up in Procreate and transitioned it into like a pixel art grid. I feel like that's something that I could make a whole nother video on, figuring out how to make like artwork into stitches for duplicate stitching. And this is the first thing I ever duplicate stitched too. And I had a blast. I figured out I love duplicate stitching, and it's honestly taking a little bit of control to not duplicate stitch everything. I feel like I kind of want to duplicate stitch something on this little baby tee too, but maybe I'll keep it solid for a while and then duplicate stitch in the future. And what I think I would duplicate stitch is a little goldfish, like in orange. I think that color combination would be really good. But anyway, yeah, so for construction for this, it is a raglan style construction. I did a little bit of short rows just on the back portion. I don't know how much of a difference it really makes, but you can kind of see it on the hanger, so that means something. I I just wung it really, so. And then I just continued doing raglans until the sleeves felt like the armpits were deep enough, and then I knit in the body. I might have to take it off the hanger. I don't know how to do this. Sorry, Jupiter, you're gonna be put on the bench for a minute. Okay, hopefully this audio is still okay, but I need two hands for this. So I also decided to do a little design down the side, just because I wanted something to like look forward to after every round, and I wanted to kind of continue the raglan style throughout the rest of the design, so that it wasn't just like a simple tee, which I love a simple tee obviously, but I kind of wanted to have something a little bit more special and something that I kind of figured out on my own how to do. So I did a whole bunch of exploration for the best way to do something down the side that kind of matches the raglan, and I ultimately landed on a 2-row repeat that was one row where it's just knit, and then a row where it's purl, 2 slips, a purl, right in the center of where I cast it on under the arms, and it resulted in this really cool design down the side. And it also is not as stretchy as just stockinette, so I think that's pretty good for like this 100% Pima cotton yarn. Oh, I forgot to mention, this is the Malabrigo Verano in the color Natural. It's the same yarn that I used for my Olga sweater, but yeah, just in a more of a natural colorway. So yeah, I'm really happy with that detail. I also decided to do a split curve hem on the bottom, and it was surprisingly pretty easy to figure out. I only had to redo it once because of the curve ratio that I was attempting to do wasn't quite right. And yeah, and then after that, I decided to do an I-cord around all of the pieces. Actually, for most of the project vlog, if you've seen it or are going to watch it, I had a different collar on. I had a more of a roll neck style collar, but ultimately I ripped that back out and did an I-cord so it matched everything else. And then for the sleeves, I actually did the I-cord bind off technique and followed a tutorial for how to like mesh the ends of the I-cord together, and I think that turned out a lot neater than it did for the body part. So yeah, and then once this shirt was done, I did the duplicate stitching for the frog. I did the outline first and then filled it in, and it was so satisfying. I just cranked that out really quickly. It is a little bit on the bulky side because it's pretty thick, you know, it's the layer from the actual tee and then layers of yarn over top. And this light green yarn is the main part of it, was a secondhand yarn that I got from Seattle Recreative. And I think it's more of a worsted weight than a DK weight, so it is a little bit heavier than the weight that I used for the actual tee, but I think that's okay. I like how it filled in the gaps a little bit more. The yellow is also a secondhand yarn from Seattle Recreative, and it's also cotton. Both of those are cotton. There's also some detailing of this like more of a bluish tone, and that was also from Seattle Recreative secondhand. And the red is, I don't know, I don't think this is the Queensland coastal cotton in Chile. I think it's another red that I had when I used for the Holger sweater that I knit for my niece, which was before posted on YouTube. But yeah, he has a little bit of red spots too. And yeah, I think he's just really, really cute. I'm really happy with how it came out. I haven't worn this yet. I think part of it is like the fit isn't it's not exactly what I had intended for it to be. I wanted it to fit like how this one does, and I think mostly it's because the Malabrigo Verano yarn is a DK like worsted weight yarn rather than this is more of a sport weight yarn, so it's just a little bit heavier. I am actually picturing myself wearing it more in the fall with like a little long sleeve underneath it. I think that could be a really cute style. It's just a little bit too heavy to wear right now in the like warmer months, I think. But I will still be wearing it to flock, so I'm really happy with this. And yeah, if you have any other questions on how I knit this or anything, let me know. But that is my little frog tee. My next finished object are these socks. These, I'm calling them my zebra socks. They are the Opal 6-ply sock yarn. It's a DK weight yarn, and it's from the Rainforest Collection in the colors way zebra. And these I knit one sock each day. So I knit the socks in 2 days. I think that's the great thing about DK, or maybe it's sport weight. It might be sport weight. I'll have to double check. But a sport weight or DK weight sock, I feel like I could just crank it out in a day, which is really exciting for me, a lover of socks. Actually, I feel like I realized recently that my first Instagram ever, the name that I used was Natalee Socks, which is still very relevant, and I think that's just really funny. I had a really big obsession with socks growing up and also just thought it was like quirky and whatever. But anyway, these socks, I used a US 1 or US 1.5 needle, and I did a 48 stitch. I did 48 stitches because I feel like all my socks keep coming out really loose, and I wanted to like kind of drastically reduce the size of them just to experiment. So I feel like I'm in like a journey of discovering like my perfect sock pattern. But I didn't follow a pattern for this. I just kind of self-drafted it. I did, let's see, maybe like 8 rows of 1x1 rib, and then a decent chunk of stockinette. I did a heel flap and gusset. That's been my favorite go-to heel construction these days, but I'm really open to experimenting still. As I don't think that it's my favorite look of heel construction. I like, I don't know, I feel like it just looks a little bit handmade, which is fine. Like I especially for the like sport weight, DK weight socks that I've been knitting, I'm totally fine with them being handmade feeling. I kind of like that look, and I like want people to know that I made them, so it's not a big deal. But if I'm planning to make like my future perfect sock where I could just knit in a bunch of different colors, I don't know if I would want it to be that handmade style. So let me know your favorite heel construction down below. But yeah, and then I knit in the foot. Did Kitchener stitch for the toe, and yeah, I'm really happy with how these turned out. I've already worn them a ton, so you can see they're a little bit fuzzy, but this was just really fun to knit. Here, I'll show you the yarn. This is what the yarn looks like. So it's like a little strip of black, and then a longer strip of white, and then a little strip of black. And in the pictures of like on the wrapping that I don't have anymore, it resulted in 2 different types of socks, and mine doesn't look like either of them. There's one where it's like really pooling and looks really close to like zebra, like more thicker, like diagonally stripes, and the other one is probably closer. I can't remember it, but mine actually resulted in like a pretty clear 2 rows of white, 1 row of black, with these little splotchy bits where there's just more white where the blacks didn't exactly overlap. And there's a few places where the black pooled a little bit. And I love pooling. I don't have any issue with a stripey type thing where the colors pool. I think that just is the unique element that a self-striping or a variegated yarn for that matter brings to the table. So I love the little quirky details that like it's one of a kind, and literally no one can knit this exact sock even if they use the same yarn. So yeah, I really like these. I'm really happy with how they turned out. I think the only thing that I'm debating kind of is I have another pair of socks that are from Le Bon's shop, I believe, that are white with brown stripes. The stripes are like more spaced out, but those I feel like I have trouble styling because it's kind of bold. And these are a little bit less bold for some reason, even though there's more stripy. I feel like it's more uniform rather than that one is like it's several solid stripes. But I'm debating for these over dyeing them to be dark brown. So they're dark brown with a black stripe detail. So maybe in the future I'll do that. But yeah, I also have just been kind of craving a brown sock. I'm so super into brown right now, as you'll see from some of my other whips. But yeah, so I don't know. They'll probably stay like this for now. But I still have so much left in this. Like I could probably knit 2 more socks. So maybe I can knit 2 more socks and then dye it brown. Maybe. The other thing too that I wanted to mention is I really didn't like how the ribbing turned out on this. I think the self-striping aspect of it, like the ribbing just looks a little bit weird. So that's why I went with just like a normal stockinette sock for the rest of them. All the other socks that I've knit are ribbed, and I like that better. I feel like it just is a little bit more dimensional, but I didn't think it would look right for these guys. Also, my rib is looser than the stockinette portion. I don't know if it's just the way that it's blocked or what, but I know my pearls are way looser, so I feel like I need to figure out a different technique to make my ribbing a little bit tighter, because I feel like I've noticed that on a bunch of other projects. And it's one of those things with ribbing, you can't necessarily size down needle sizes, because that would be you switching needle every single stitch, which is silly and stupid. But yeah, I think I need to practice my tension and maybe different purling techniques. Even though I purl really quickly, maybe I don't know, I feel like I'm one of those people that like is always choosing speed over like it being correct. So maybe I just need to like practice that, especially for something like this. Like this isn't that much ribbing, you know, it should be more intentional. I also want to play around with twisted rib, because I think that would help my ribbing too, to be a little bit tighter, which I did explore in a project that I forgot to grab, so I'll grab that in a minute. But these are my third finished object, and I believe that's all my finished objects. So we can get right into some whips. Okay. The first whip you've seen before, you love it. You've seen it again, you still love it. But it is my cloud sweater by PetiteKnit. I am knitting this in Blue Sky Fibers worsted weight. It's 100% cotton, and the color is bay leaf. And as we all know, this color is everything. It's my favorite color, and it looks like a finished object because it has everything that it needs to be a finished object besides ends weaving in and blocking. But it is not, because I have to re-knit the sleeves again. So my last podcast, I talked about how I was struggling with the sleeves. I had trouble picking up the right stitch count. I think my gauge for this is way off. I knit this a while ago now, obviously. It's been like several months, but my sleeve decrease was a little bit weird. Can't remember which sleeve it was. Let's see. I'll be able to tell the difference. Okay, yeah. This was the first sleeve that I did, and I believe it's the sleeve that I had for that last podcast. And I felt like the decrease rate wasn't quite right, because I think I only did like 4 or 5 decreases, and I think the pattern calls for way more than that. So my gauge was just like really off, and I felt like my sleeve was like really baggy. So when I picked up to knit the other sleeve, I decided that I was going to do a better decrease rate, more consistent decrease rate, and then when I liked that, I would switch back out and redo the other sleeve. But this sleeve, I think I did too many decreases, because it doesn't really fit the oversized nature of the rest of the sweater. It kind of feels a little bit more narrow, especially on. I don't think this is like the best way to show it, but it just felt like a little bit too narrow for how big the sleeve actually is. So I think my plan of action for this is to take out some of the bigger sleeve, like rip back a little bit, and do several more decreases on one round before I do the ribbing, and then do the rib and then the stockinette, and then cast off. And that way, because the main part of the sleeve feels fine. I feel like it's just the cuff that doesn't feel like it feels too big, and I want it to be a little bit more snug. I think it'll give it a little bit more of a balloony shape, but I think that's okay. I don't want there to be too many decreases at that point, but just enough that like it cinches it in. Especially for this pattern, you don't size down needles for the ribbing. So I think I'm going to do that, and then I'll redo this sleeve again. And I know that this sleeve only took me a day, so I kind of just wanted to talk through it, and even just recording this, talking through, figuring out what I want to do is helpful. So this won't take too long. I think it'll only take me a day. So maybe I could do that. Maybe this will be my next thing to finish. And yeah, the only other issue that I'm having with this is, so the bottom hem, you knit a few ribs and then you knit a few just normal stockinette, and then you cast off, and it gives a beautiful like little roll effect. For my sleeves on both of them, this is what they're looking like. They're not really rolling up quite right. I don't know if it's because I need to block them or something and they'll roll better, but you can totally see the switch between the rib and the stockinette. Maybe I did too much stockinette. How many did it do for the body? 1, 2, 3, 3 stitches and then cast it off. And this I did 4 stitches and cast it off. So maybe that's it. There's just 1 extra stitch. Maybe with blocking it'll be fine, but let me know if you guys also have this issue so I can fix it so I don't have to reknit the sleeve a million times. But yeah, I'm still really excited for wearing this. I talked about in my last one that it already looks a little bit beat up and I like that effect, so I can just like wear it nonstop. But yeah, I'll have to figure out the rolling hem, and yeah, then I'll be really excited to wear this. It feels so soft. I haven't like touched it in a while and I'm just like, wow, it's like scrumptious. Okay. That is my first whip. Let's see. Let me grab those other whips. I'll be right back. Oh, Jupiter! Can you see Jupiter sitting on the arm of my chair still? I feel like it's just not practical. I feel like I need 2 hands. I feel like I'm out of breath for walking across my apartment and back, so. Okay. Another update for a whip that I shared in my last one are these socks. This almost sock. This is the sock that I'm knitting for my boyfriend. It is in the yarn that's Rowan felted tweed. I believe the color is sienna or something like that. I can't quite remember, but it's been really nice to work up, and I love the little tweedy bits. I'm really into tweed right now, so this will be something that I really want to finish. I think the I'm struggling with is just I want them to fit him right, so I asked him to measure his foot and I got those measurements, so I'm going to see if it matches. It probably will. If it matches one of my, what is it called? Sock blocker things. I have a 3-pack and one of them is like a man size foot. And I wonder if that measures right, and then I could use that for it. But anyway, oh my god, I'm so out of breath and so rambly and so burpy. Anyway, I'm referencing the Slow Morning DK sock pattern just for like how many stitches to cast on, and it's a 2x2 ribbing. I think in my last podcast I had a Flegel heel and I switched it to be the heel flap and gusset, like my zebra socks and some of the other socks that I've been knitting. And then I continued knit through the foot, and that didn't take me very long. Like, I know I can finish these really quickly, so I just want to make sure that they're the right length for him. So all I have left really is figuring out how much more to do before doing the toe. So that's it for this one, really. I don't really have anything else to say. I like that this yarn is a little bit lighter weight. Like, these are pretty light socks for like how woolly they are, but also he's someone that wears wool socks in the summer somehow. So it's not like I'm waiting to give them to him when it starts getting cold. It's like I know he'll wear them when I give it to him. So that is this one. Okay, another sock whip in my little sock bagoo bag is Oh, I don't know if I have the label to this. Shoot. If I find it, I'll put it on the screen, but I got this yarn also from Seattle Recreative, the secondhand craft supply store, and I caked it up myself. I'm not a person who like is super germophobic or anything, so I didn't really wash any of my secondhand yarn, but to each their own, I guess, because I'm gonna wash it when I block it. So these I decided to do a sock inspired by the Ruffles Forever sock by the girl who likes to purl on Instagram. She made a little bit of a pattern for doing a ruffle on a sock, so I wanted to attempt that. So this is the first sock that I attempted it. I just kind of cut the yarn, but I wanted to keep it to like reference it for this video. But this is the ruffle that's following her pattern, except after the ruffle I did twisted rib. So I did 1x1 twisted rib, and it turned out a little bit wonky. And what I realized is that I was using my longer cable. Like I have the like minis of the Chiago, like the sock kind of pack, and there's a couple different cable sizes, and I wasn't using the smallest one, which I needed to use for the circumference to be a little bit tighter, so the ribbing is like pretty stretched out. But it's my first time doing twisted rib and I really enjoyed it. It was just hard to do on a cable that was too long, so I decided that I was going to start over. And when starting over, I decided that I was going to change the ruffle, like how to do the ruffle a little bit. So I cast it on. So I decided that for my sock, it was going to be 52 stitches. So to calculate the ruffle, I did 52 times 2 and that times 2. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but math. And I casted that on, and I casted them on really loosely so that the yarn would kind of fluff out a little bit more. And in the Ruffles Forever pattern, it's the same calculation, and you cast on that big number of stitches, and then you knit 2 through the back loop around it, and then you do that again, and that should give you the number of stitches for the rest of your sock. Because I wanted the ruffle a little bit more ruffly than that, what I did is I casted on that number, knit around, then did the decreases, like knit 2 together through the back loop, and then did another round of knitting, and then did the decrease round again. So basically I have a normal round in between my decrease rounds, and I really like that, like how the ruffle looks on this version. I also played around with doing stripes. So I have this other yarn. I don't have it in front of me. I don't know where it went. But it's like a bluish variegated yarn. And I thought that those colors would look really nice together and initially started doing like thin stripes. But I ultimately didn't really like that look. And so I ripped back a little bit, but I kept the first stripe as a little breaker between the ruffle and the rest of the sock. And if I finish this sock, I'll also do a stripe right before the toe. I think that'll give a little nice, like, just a little bit of a detail. But these socks, I think, I feel like I stopped knitting them because I originally like really liked this color. I thought it like felt very similar to like the roses and the orchids and stuff that I've been seeing in my neighborhood. But I think this sock is resulting in something that's like very girly, and I'm not like the girliest of style. Like I don't have the girliest fashion sense. So I think like the ruffle mixed with it being like a pinky purpley girly color, like the combination felt like a little bit too much for me. So A, doing a sock that's ruffle, or B, doing a plain sock in this yarn maybe would be better. So what I think I'm going to do is frog this and maybe put it on hold for now, like just not use this yarn for a little bit. But I think I would like to revisit the ruffle sock and maybe knit some socks for my niece. She's gonna be 3 at the end of August, which is crazy, but she really likes pink. So I think a little pink ruffle sock could be cute for her little feet. So I think I'm gonna do that for her and not use this yarn for me for now. But maybe in the future I'll really like it. So that is this one. Again, I'll put the yarn on the screen. I don't remember it. Thrifted, so. Okay, speaking of ruffle, I knit this today on my lunch break from work. And I was on a walk this morning and I had the idea of knitting the ruffle portion of a sock to wear with all my normal socks, because in the summer months is when I feel like I'm drawn to like a little ruffly sock, with like my Tevas or my Keen sandals or my like Super Berkeys or any shoe that I've been wearing for the summer. I think just like looks really cute and adds like a little bit of a detail. But a fully knit sock is too warm. Like I haven't been wearing my knit socks outside, just except for in the morning and around the house. So I decided to knit a little bit of a ruffle piece that you could add onto the top of your sock, and it would look like the sock is ruffle sock, but really the only thing that you knit is like this little tiny thing. So it's like a really quick, easy finished object, and you get to wear it whenever you want on whatever sock you want. So I'm really excited about this, and I'm really excited about this concept, and almost feel like it's my big break. I feel like I haven't seen anything like this before, and it's so simple and easy and quick. So yeah, I'm gonna knit the other one today so I can make a little post about it. And yeah, so what I did for this one is I casted on 52, 48. I think I casted on 52 stitches on US 1.5 needles and did 8 rows of 1x1 rib. And then instead of the Ruffles Forever kind of style where you cast on the ruffle amount and do decreases, I did increases because I wanted to do the cast on like a normal sock. That way the ruffles go up. I don't know. I guess you could do it either way, but the way that I did it was I casted on stitches and then I did knit through the front and then knit, or was it KFB, knit front and back on every stitch, and then I did a normal round, and then I did a KFB on every stitch, and then I knit a normal round, and then I cast it off, and that's it. So if you want to knit these, knit them, but I'll probably make a post about them. So, but I took like a little bit of content showing them. I recorded a video showing them, but I'll show you really quickly right now. I don't know what you'll be able to see on camera, but essentially it's just that. They like stay put because of the ribbing, and I think it looks really cute, and it matches these socks really nicely. So really excited to knit the other one. And yeah, that's this little guy. Okay, I think we're getting to the home stretch. Oh my god, no, we're not. Ah! Okay. The next one is the Vilma top. This is the Vilma top by Gregoria Fibers. Where did my hanger go? Okay, this is the Vilma top by Gregoria Fibers. I am knitting this in pure Sandnes Garn Pure Gynt. Sandnes Garn Pure Gynt and the color Cacao. It's a petite knit colorway, and it's this really, really dark brown. And I believe the pattern actually calls for a worsted weight, and Pure Gynt is more of a DK weight. But I got gauge on the needle size recommended in the pattern, which is US 6. Which again I was pretty surprised about. I think it's because my yarn size was a little bit lower, that the needle size worked perfectly. So, because usually I have to size down needles, but I sized down yarn weight. So that's a little bit of an interesting hack for me. And yeah, I swatched this on June 17th and blocked it, and then I cast it on size 6 for my bust measurements, and I knit this so quickly. Let's see. On the 21st, I finished the front panels, and oh, that's all the things I wrote down. But so the way that it's knit is you cast on here, and you knit bottom up in the round, and then you split front and back, and then you knit the front panels, and then you knit the back panels, and then you do a 3-needle join, I think, at the top, and then you do a twisted rib collar, which is how I discovered I really like twisted rib, especially for my loose knitting. And you do this little bottom portion as well. So, and then the armholes. So all I had left to finish this one is the button band. And I had a little bit of an issue with my pure Gynt ball that kind of knotted for some reason. I don't know what happened to it, but I'm not entirely sure if I have enough. So I might have to get one more ball of the pure Gynt and then just do the button band. But I'm going to try to see if I could salvage what I have. The reason that I've delayed finishing this is because I ordered buttons from Etsy that are these, let's see, they're this like beautiful teal tumbled sea glass from an Etsy account, and because they're like sea glass pieces, I feel like they're going to be a regular sizing, so I kind of wanted to wait till I got those in to see what size the buttonholes should be, rather than like, I guess I could do the non-buttonhole size first and see how much pure Gynt I have. Actually, I probably could do that. But I'm really excited to block this. I really enjoyed blocking my swatch and like stretching it out. I feel like that's not something that I normally do or get to do because I've been knitting a lot with cotton and linen where it's like it stretches out and you almost want to like shrink it rather than like stretch it. So I'm really excited to block this and be able to stretch it into like the measurements that I want it to be. But I'm really excited to like wear this in the fall. I think it'll be really cute. I have a brown long sleeves that I think it would be cute with, and I've been wearing long skirts recently that I also think it would be cute with. So yeah, I'm really happy with how this is turning out. I haven't really tried it on in a while, but I think the length is good too. But again, I think I'll figure that out when I block it. And if you haven't seen this before, it has a lacework detailing that has these like kind of flower like shapes, and it is so addicting. I knit this so quickly because I don't know if you could see it because it's dark brown, but and yeah, so if you're interested in knitting lacework, I highly recommend this pattern. I would like to knit more lacework things, but it's a little bit girly. I have to like really quite balance that line. So that's why I picked this kind of like dark brown, earthy color. But I think this will be really nice in the fall and the winter to be able to add like a little layer underneath a coat or something. But yeah, that's this one. So I'll finish that up here soon. The next one is a really exciting one. And I started the Stella Quilt blanket. I almost feel like I could use this as a blanket already because I am almost done with one motif. I don't know if you'll be able to see that all on camera, but I have been loving this. I feel like I've put myself on a ban from this because I okay, hold on, let me fold it. I on Sunday knit this much in one day. That's so much knitting. That's crazy. I timed myself, and each square alone takes me like an hour to maybe more like an hour and 15 minutes, or an hour and a half. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 8. That's 12. That's basically 12 hours of knitting. Because some of it was figuring out the pattern because it was like new to figure out. But that is wild. That is unhealthy. That is not okay. But did I proceed the next day to knit basically 4 more, half of the knitting that I did, which is still a lot, because that's still like over 4 hours of knitting in one day. Honestly, I probably do that much knitting every day. I think it just like looks more significant in this piece because I know the time it takes for each one or something. But this week I decided that I can knit 1 square a day and have my little morning knit work time of a little over an hour to an hour and a half. They're taking me a little bit less time now because I know the pattern and how to do it. But yeah, I'm loving this. I'm really excited. I feel like I'm just going to keep going until it's like giant and I could use it on my bed. I kind of like the weight of it. Brown is the color that I chose for the base of this. I feel like a lot of the versions of this that I've seen were in a natural color, like a cream color, which I feel like is very quilt, but I wanted to use kind of a darker brown color. Again, I've been really loving darker brown, so I got a bunch of this Hobbii Friends cotton. It's the 8/8. There's a couple different versions of it, I guess, and this is I don't know what color it is, but it's just the dark brown color. They have a bunch of colors, and I really like it. I mean, it's it's just cotton yarn to me. It's a little bit thicker. It's like DK. It's like a heavier DK, which is exactly what I wanted because I had a ton of the Queensland coastal cotton in the same kind of, it's like a thicker DK. So for this first motif, I did a red and yellow kind of combination. So I had 2 different shades of red. I had a red that I used for the Holger sweater that I knit for my niece and nephew. And then I had the red that I used for my spy top in the chili color. And I didn't realize that I was going to run out of the first red. And if I had known that, I would have alternated the triangles a little bit better because there's 3, I don't know how well you can see on camera. Maybe that's better. There's 3 of the chili colorway on here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's like 6 of the other one. And yeah, I wish I alternated them or spread them out a little bit more, but I am fine with it. This is a scrappy project for me, and so part of it is like I like kind of that they kind of pulled together in that way. Same thing with like variegated socks. I feel like it's feels a little bit more like unintentional. Like if I was intentional in it, it would be spread out, but it was unintentional and scrappy. So that's that. I have 2 yellows in the center here, which was intentional. This brighter yellow is a Queensland coastal cotton. I can't remember the colorway. And this warmer yellow is the yellow that I used on my frog that was secondhand from Seattle Recreative. So it doesn't have a label, but it was in the like cotton section. So, and I really like how they look, and I like how they look like slightly different, but still you can tell that it's yellow in the center of this motif. So my plan for this quilt is for it to be kind of like red, yellow, green, blue, like motifs. So I'm really excited to play around with my next motif. I think I'm going to I have a ton of green from my frog, so I think I'm going to use that and maybe do like a blue in the center or something, or red in the center or something like that. It'll be fun to play around with that. I don't know how many motifs I'm going to need. I think I'm just going to like, again, just like keep going until the size feels right, but I'm not going to seam them all together. I'm just going to do 1 motif at a time so that once I have enough that I feel like I could seam them, I can kind of figure out how I want to balance the colors. Because I imagine that I would use like red on the inside for one, since I don't know how much red I have, but you know what I'm saying. You get the idea. And I'll continue updating this. I think the habit of doing 1 a day will be really nice on this, so I don't get kind of burnt out from it, because obviously spending so much time doing it in 1 day is like not sustainable. So, and I have other things that I want to knit, but for now it already feels like it's big enough that I could have it as a little lap blanket, or I think I'm going to hang it over this chair once I finish the last square and have like this little quilt accent. Really quick, easy, like really easy like little home update if you want to like add a little bit of a quilt motif. Oh, the other thing that I wanted to say, I know I wanted to be quick. I'm sorry, okay? I have lots to say. Is I picked the version of this that's a bigger motif. Lauren Penrose in the pattern has 2 different sizes, which you could really do any size that you want as long as it's like an odd number of stitches. So if you wanted like a really tiny one, you could do that. It would just obviously take a lot longer, but I picked a bigger one, and I honestly wish I picked a smaller one because you can't really tell it's the quilt motif just by looking at it. But I wanted a really big blanket, so there's a trade-off there. So we'll see how it goes, but I'm really happy and loving working on that so far. So that's that one, and that's my last whip. I have a few languishing whips that I've never talked about that maybe will come out one day, but let's get on to acquisitions. I have some yarn that I got from Seattle Recreative. These were all cotton yarn, and this is the yellow that I have in my Stella Quilt blanket and the yellow that I use for the frog, and this is the like bluish green color that I used for highlights in the frog. I don't know what I'm going to use these for except for the Stella Quilt blanket. I also got this like more bluey color. I'm so bad at describing colors. I love color, but I'm really bad at describing them. And it's a little bit of a lighter weight, so I probably could add this to my quilt blanket and just double it up, but I mostly just was playing around with colors for my frog. These are 3 yarns that I got from Tea Cozy Yarn Shop. That's the name of the shop in Ballard in Seattle. And I got these initially for my frog. So I was planning on using this dark teal color for the outline of the frog, the green for the main part of the frog, and then this lime color for the tummy of the frog. But I honestly just panicked. I was stressed about color selection, and so these are what I ended up with. And obviously I didn't use these ones, so I don't really know what I'm going to use these for. These are the Blue Sky Fibers Organic Cotton Sport. So it's the same fiber that I am using for my cloud sweater, but this is the sport weight and that's the worsted weight. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not like super inspired by these, so I don't know what will end up happening with them. I wonder if I could return them. Maybe I can. I do really like this color though. I feel like this could be kind of fun. But again, it's like I only have one skein and it's cotton, so we'll see. But I panicked. Okay, and then I also got 5 skeins, 5 balls of this Rise and Shine, Reynolds Rise and Shine in the color 9275. I believe it's 100% or 50% mercerized cotton and 50% cotton, and it's in this like purpley orchid color, very similar color to the like Ruffles socks that I was working on, but I think I like this more. I think the variegated in that is throwing me off. And yeah, I don't exactly know what I'm gonna knit with this, but I really like how it feels. It's kind of twisted in a nice way. I don't know if that's the mercerized cotton in it. I don't know enough about the cotton, like the types of cotton, because I know there's like Pima and mercerized and like blah blah blah. But yeah, I'm excited to knit with this one and see what it's like. And I think this color would look good on me, so that's what I'm trying to figure out is what colors I like to wear and I feel like actually look good on me. So I am thinking about, I did a little bit of sketch of a self-drafted piece that I might use this for and play around with, but I've been seeing on Pinterest these tops that have this kind of like V-neck shape, and then they're like scooped around underneath the bust area, and they're like tank top style shape or like puff sleeve. I'll put some pictures, but I'm thinking about self-drafting a top that is kind of that same shape where it's a V-neck and like a scoop around the bust. I have a bigger bust size, so a lot of like the little tank tops and stuff I don't seem working for me that well. So something like that. But I don't like, well, sorry to attack you, your ears. But I'm not like a big fan of v-necks on me. So what I'm thinking about doing is doing a v-neck and then using the method that I've learned from the Stella Quilt blanket, pick up the V stitches and have it be a crew neck with the V-shaped lines. So it'd have like lines down the center in a V and lines underneath the bust. And then I don't know if I would want the bottom part to be ribbed and like scrunched tight or just like normal stockinette and like straight down, which it probably will be. So I'm trying to think about playing around with that. I feel like I can do it. I've sewed a bit in the past, and honestly, like knitting and pattern creation, it feels just like figuring out the ratios of increases and decreases to match like the pattern pieces, similar to sewing. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see about that. I don't know. Maybe it'll work up or not. Let me know if you want a vlog for it, because I probably will vlog it, but that's that one. And then today, after I dropped off my puppy, one of the good things I like about the sitter that I'm using today is they live really close to a Goodwill that's I don't know if it's further, they're probably equidistant, but one of the Goodwills that I like a lot. And I got a bunch of things that I'll put in my like weekly vlog, but I'll show this one because it's relevant. But I got this yarn. It was a 3-pack of this yellow, kind of like, I would say more like banana yellow than butter yellow yarn, and it's the 24/7 cotton Lion brand yarn, and it's 100% mercerized cotton. Oh, again, mercerized cotton. Maybe that's like cheaper or something. It was really cheap. It was $6 for 3 little balls of it. So this is the first time I'm touching it. And it's the color Lemon Citron. But again, I like cotton, and it could be in my Stella Quilt blanket, could be something else, because obviously I already have like a lot of yellow. I don't know what obviously I just got this, so I don't know what I'm going to use it for. So let me know if you have any ideas. I think it's kind of more of like a sport. I think it might be more of a true DK weight, actually. Let's see. It doesn't say. Okay. Well, that's that. Ooh, these colors together? No. Not for me right now. Maybe I'll change my mind on that. But anyway, let's bring back Jupiter for the outro. Okay, Jupiter's back for the outro. I've been recording for a while, and I think this will be long, but I love really long podcasts, and I love rambly podcasts and kind of low budget style podcasts. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Obviously, I've been posting a lot of content recently. If you're interested in subscribing or commenting or liking or whatever, do as you please. But I really like it, and it makes me feel like inspired to keep doing what I'm doing. So. And yeah, follow me on Instagram at knit.alee over there to stay more up to date on the more like recent things that I'm working on. I've been pretty active. I post a lot of my puppy Elmer on there too. He's really cute and really photogenic. So yeah, thank you again so much for watching, and bye.